Welcome to Momentous Live, episode 6. I'm Tristan Jutra, and in the blue we have...
I'm Greg Williams.
And next to him is...
Me, Tasia Custodi.
And next to me, this way, is...
William Silver.
All right. Yeah, we're kind of different. See, our position seems to be just a little bit different every week. I think Gray does this to us on purpose, just to...
Yeah.
Which way are we looking? It's like if they shuffled the Brady Bunch every week.
Which would have been more fun.
Exactly. Well, here we are again. Beautiful week here in the Vancouver area. How's it been where you are, Tasia?
Wonderful.
Is it as it always is?
Delightfully vaccinated?
Delightfully fully on the proper schedule, vaccinated, and also... Yeah, our weather's been nice. It was actually more mild for us this week, so we were only in the 80s, which was wonderful.
And what's that in the real temperature?
So I want to say
That's 20.
I do rough estimates.
Oh no, that's more like 24. Okay, so double it and add 30, so minus 30, so that's 25.
Double and add 30.
Yeah, or subtract 30 and cut it in half. That's the rough. It's actually 5/9 or 9/5. But like,
Okay.
This
and
is
just a little bit less freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not momentous math. This is just...
Yeah, you just lost the 3 people that were watching.
Let's not get carried away. I think it's more like 2.5.
And my mom's here. Come on, settle down.
I know Tasia's
Mine
watching.
too. The moms
Right.
are coming in hot with the support. Thank you, moms.
All the mums. I should tell my mom about this.
We're issuing a limited edition NFT for our early viewers, so thank you for tuning in. And
Yes. Yes. So let's start off with some follow-up. We were talking about flying cars recently, and Will found some interesting story that gives him hope that he someday too could have a flying car.
Yeah, so I just saw this story, and I think partly just because, Tasia, your story last episode, just about, commuter flying cars. This is more about individual flying cars. Now, having said that, having watched the video and read the article and done a little bit of research into it, I don't have 100% confidence in this particular company, but it does give me hope overall. I think a couple of things that are a little bit of red flags about this company. First of all, that they're asking for so much down for something a number of years out, that they need investment capital or some money to make this go. Also, I'm judging a little bit here. The company's name is NFT. Bad timing. They have nothing to do with non-fungible tokens. Just unfortunate timing, and these things tend to sometimes lead to disaster and confusion especially when you're starting a startup. So I'm a little bit leery that this is actually going to work, but it's nice that someone's trying.
they did actually change their name originally from EMT Promise, so that was probably a better... probably a better choice.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, MT Promise, not a good choice. You know, I mean, like, did anybody here put money down on a Cybertruck? I found $150 of couch change, so I put that down on a Cybertruck, mostly because I want to see them, usher in the Blade Runner future. So if that's a thing that can happen, sure. $5,000 a bit rich for my blood, but I mean, I do have a rooftop patio. If this thing could land up there, maybe.
Perfect.
I'd be into it. Yeah.
It's got a 250-mile range. It's the Aska is what it's called. 150 mile per hour top speed, 6 propellers powered by 6 batteries, and dual gas motors. So not an EV flying car or personal flying device as some of the others are working on. So $5,000 deposit, but of course the full price is $789,000 US.
Oh, that's cheap.
So if you can become an Uber driver and or a Lyft driver as well, and then you could recoup some of your investment that way, or perhaps you could take some photos for Google Earth. What do you think, Tasia?
Yes. So Google Earth, you guys, has released a brand new feature, and it is a time-lapse feature. And so obviously this is just in time for, do we have like Earth Day coming up or when?
This week, yep.
Yeah. And so they've gone back to, I think like 1984-ish. And obviously, as we know, Google didn't exist then. I shudder. And not only that, but Google Earth didn't even exist till the early 2000s-ish. So they used, the help of NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey and like the European Space Agency, whatever they're called. They use the help of like all of these different kind of agencies to pull images of what specific parts of Earth looked like. And so what you're seeing here is this was kind of a promo video that Google Earth put together to promote this new time-lapse feature. And really what everybody has picked up on in this video is just how us humans have impacted the Earth. So there's a couple of points, I think at like 120 in, and there's another one a little bit after that. I mean, it's like, I was a little upset. So it's just, you could see the impact that we've had on bodies of water and ice and all of that kind of stuff. So these are good shots here. You can see what we've done with development and just, but it's quite interesting. And I think the feature is really, really cool. What do you guys think about it?
It's a little, I put in the notes here, like, look on our works, you mighty in despair. Rough, right? Like, I think on an individual level, none of us wants this for the planet, but it seems like on a societal level, we haven't found a way to avoid it. And it's just this, heartbreak recorded writ large, real time across the planet. You guys recycle, you reduce, you reuse. We're all probably looking at our vehicles. We don't want to buy the gas powered flying vehicle. What else are we supposed to do here other than scream and shout at this? I mean, elect the people that will stop this, I guess.
Yeah. I think
that's what you feel.
Yeah, and there's of course there's the question too about how long are the effect cycles here, or what we're seeing in the last 20 years or 30 years of Google Earth images, are these due to human actions from 10 years before that, 5 years before that, 50 years before that, 100 years before that? We're not sure how much of this is the impact from the Industrial Revolution, or from the advent of the motor car and the building and construction of highways all over the place. How much of it is due to international shipping? We don't really have a grasp on what the delays are here. So we could be in for a lot worse in 10, 20, 50, 100 years. Who knows? So I think there's lots and lots of research being done into mitigation and to things like carbon capture, and even some way out there ideas, to shield certain parts of the Earth from sunlight at different times of the year by putting stuff in the atmosphere, kind of simulating volcanic eruptions. Nothing ever goes wrong when you experiment wildly with nature, right?
Right.
I heard one that was like giant reflective mylar balloons floated over certain parts of the. Google had their aerostats for a while. It's cool. Just a big old balloon. It's supposed to be sunny today, but it is now Google.
Well, perhaps we could use some of that reflective material to burn ants on the surface of the moon.
I mean, just taking a step back, and I agree with all that you guys are saying, and it's horrific and fascinating at the same time, sort of like watching a car accident, this video. But I think the other thing is, this is amazing that somebody's doing this, like in terms of taking this footage and putting this together. I also kind of reminds me of about, I think it was 10 or 12 years ago, Google was mapping some oceans. They were mapping the oceans, and people thought that they found Atlantis because they were mapping the trenches. And it's, regardless of what conclusions you want to come to, it's just amazing that somebody or a company or, is taking all this data and putting it together. So just taking maybe a half step back, although I totally agree that this is horrifying watching the environmental impacts of humanity. It's just also amazing that we're getting the chance to maybe see some of this, or to really get a visual representation, because we have scientists telling us this about, I remember the ozone hole in the 80s scaring the crap out of me as a kid, and that we actually get to see a little bit of it, this visually is really impactful. So
and
I agree. I think it's, sorry.
Okay.
I think it's easy for us to, well, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. So this is something where it's like all those Netflix documentaries that we watch and like make us cry. And we're like, how can we do this to the oceans? Like, we're horrible. You know, if we don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind, right? So this is something where I'm hoping can help wake people up to not even just all as individuals, because every single person plays a part, but what can we be doing? Where should we be putting our money as consumers? Into what organizations? Into what big companies that have the power to change this? And maybe if we're thinking of things, Band-Aids, like throwing crap up into the air that we're going to breathe in, that stops sun, maybe we could think of maybe just not polluting as much, maybe not taking up as much space on the earth. You know, like there's got to be other things we could do. So I do think it's remarkable, and it got me a little sad, but at the same time, I think the technology is really cool that they used. And also I think I'm hopeful that it will spur people into action, businesses, because we all know consumers hold the power. We hold all the power for everything with our dollars, and people don't get that. It's true. I
was just laughing because it's a segue into the next story. So.
Oh, there you go. Then Graham, take it away.
Oh no, the segues are Tristan's job. That is way above my pay grade.
Fair. So before we get into that, how we as consumers, there's actually a larger philosophical discussion to be had there, because there are some people who say, you know what, we're sick of the onus being put on us as consumers. It's these big bad corporations who are cutting down the rainforests and doing this and that and the other, and mining rare earth elements and, you know, polluting all over the place. So there's a bit of a pushback saying, you know, and maybe people are just fatigued. I think there's been a lot going on last year, to be fair. People are saying, well, why are you putting it all on us? It's these corporations. I think it's, you know, it's one of those things where it's both, right? Mm-hmm. Corporations are informed by sales, and we make choices as consumers in the you know, what we buy. Now, I think there's obviously, you know, although some people disagree with us, I believe that there is a role for government to play in this, and there have been other issues in the past that, you know, through some action, through some government intervention, you know, even though those are, you know, taboo words in some people's worldviews, you know, we've had, you know, ozone issues, and that's, you know, it's way better than it was. We've had acid rain in the 80s, and in the government, you know, sort of the Northeast in the United States, which is you know, sort of the Eastern Canada as well. And there was a lot of changes that were implemented to help address those issues. Part of the challenge is that, you know, carbon dioxide is like a naturally occurring substance. So, you know, teasing apart what's man-made and, you know, and what's natural, et cetera, you know, that's a whole other debate that people have gone into and used as a bit of a red herring in some cases. You know, we know that we're generating carbon dioxide by transportation, by shipping, you know, by food production, and so on. So, you know, what are the things that we can do there, and what are the choices we can make, and what can governments do to, you know, incentivize? Governments have the carrots and the sticks. So, you know, of course, these, you know, we're not going to solve climate change in this issue or in this episode, obviously. But like you said,
I have high hopes.
Yeah. But there are, like, you know, these mitigation, you know, research is being done. Like, there's a company in Squamish here in near the Greater Vancouver area called Carbon Engineering, and they are using technology to capture carbon from the air and turn it into usable fuel. So closing that loop, and there's other companies like that are pursuing such technology. So that's promising, but, you know, you have to be able to scale those things up, and all those things take costs and require investment and so on. So one thing that some companies do, and Apple a number of years ago drew a line in the sand. They said, you know, we're going to be carbon neutral by 2030. And they've been, you know, moving their data centers over to renewable energy. They're doing all sorts of things throughout their supply chain as well to try to become carbon neutral. But then I guess they had a closer look at the numbers and found, wait a sec, we have to do way more if we want to hit our targets. And so what they've done just recently is they've launched a $200 million, what they call the Restore Fund, meant to remove at least 1 million metric tons of CO2 from the atmosphere each year by investing in forest reforestation projects. So this is, you know, based on standards from the UN Convention and on climate change and so on. So it's focusing on working forests. So these are forests that get planted and grown and then harvested for timber and other purposes. So there's a cycle there. Trees take a long time to grow, and they capture a lot of carbon in the meantime, but they are a renewable resource. What's interesting and what's not being said here is that the more we grow trees and let them hang around, the more carbon we can capture. And if we could look at other materials, quicker growing materials for some of our other fiber needs, like bamboo, for example, and hemp, they do a really good job of growing very quickly. And we can use that, replace for things like paper and whatnot, and even some textiles. So that's not being included in this. But the bottom line is that Apple is, again, putting their money where their mouth is with these efforts, and they've got the piggy bank to be able to afford doing these things. And other companies kind of get shamed into following suit as well, which is a good sign. That's the market working. And if customers believe in that part of Apple's mission, then they'll let them know by continuing to buy Apple products. And if other companies do the same, all the better, because ultimately, like they say, capitalism always wins, right? Well, let's continue to support the companies that we think are doing their part, and maybe avoiding those that aren't doing their part.
If I can, just really quickly, because I think we're kind of like bunching these along here. Have you guys heard much about B Corp?
Well, I know about B Corp as a type of organization in the United States. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and so it's actually not just the United States. We have B Corps here in Canada and around the world. And basically, like in the United States, the idea that the corporation has to, their primary goal has to be profit is actually written into their corporate charters. And they can be beholden to the shareholders if they don't. So if you have a choice between something that is better for humanity, better for the environment, and something that makes you more money, you can actually be in quite a bit of trouble if you don't pursue the thing that makes you more money. Whereas B Corp gives them the direction at a corporate level that they can now go and pursue something that perhaps is not the most cutthroat thing, but will still make money. And so I'm working with a number of groups right now that either have B Corp certification or are pursuing B Corp certification. And this one it really it caught my attention. And so kind of looking at this both sides of this of okay, it's the corporate responsibility and it's the user's responsibility. I think this is one of those ways to keep, both of these groups in touch with each other to say, okay, I want to be more proactive as a consumer about this, which means, sure, I'll take care of my little bit, but I'll also direct what I'm buying and how I'm consuming to companies that are doing the same thing. It's the same as scanning the barcode in the store and seeing is it from a company that is burning down the rainforest for palm oil? Yeah, cool. Not buying your stuff anymore. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly deviate there.
And maybe they can give those gorillas some jobs too after they cut down their forest.
I saw a documentary about that called Congo. It didn't go well.
Just wait till they find guns.
Right? Yeah.
A bit of maybe a side fun story just to team up with Graham, although not as awesome as Graham's story. But I'm a huge fan of the Vancouver Whitecaps, and they have a sponsorship with Husqvarna to actually plant trees
Cool.
if there's a shutout. Now, if there's 3 goals, you get a free slushie. And so when we got a shutout and it said Husqvarna's I'm like, are they going to give us free chainsaws? Oh, I guess planting trees is good.
Yeah. Or a tree flavored slushie would be the next best thing.
Slushie.
Yeah.
Sorry, fun story. Graham's story was much better than mine.
I'm with you on this one.
Well, speaking of fun things, it's been a fun week in the markets, especially the crypto markets this past week. And it even got on Will's radar. The DogeCoin went insane, and it even passed 40 cents at one point. Just for a little bit of context, about 2.5 years ago, Dogecoin was a fraction of a penny, and has been hovering around 6 cents for months and months. So for it to go up to 40 cents, thanks to repeated pumping by people like Elon Musk over the last few months, some memes going around on places like Wall Street Bets, who were responsible for the whole GameStop fun times a couple of months ago, and even more recently by Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, saying that they will accept Dogecoin for their merchandise. The little Shiba that could is going to the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, this caught my eye. I'm not the biggest into crypto. I'd love to. Part of the reason why this caught my eye too is I wanted to hear what Tristan. I know you and Graham are more knowledgeable about crypto than I am. I just thought this was interesting because, as you say, Tristan, maybe you didn't add this context. My understanding was this was kind of a joke when DogeCoin first came out, that this was a bit of an insider joke. And this seems to be, to your point, looking into it, that some of this is this movement that's happening about giving, or people taking the power and sort of taking on the big Wall Street systems. This is kind of a tip to that. Now, having said that, the price has gone down a little bit. Last time I looked, it was around 35 cents. But a month ago, it was like, 5 cents or 3 cents or something like that. So it's gone through the roof in the last week.
Indeed. And Dogecoin was an early fork of Bitcoin, I believe. It started as a joke, a meme using the Shiba Inu that was a popular meme already, and co-opted it, and it's taken on a whole life of its own. Now, one of the things that differentiates Dogecoin from other cryptos, including Bitcoin, is it has, I believe, no cap on the number of tokens or coins that can be minted. So whereas something like Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be a maximum of 21 million ever. So that's a built-in scarcity that appeals to people who are trying, who are making long-term investments and who are concerned about maintaining value, especially in the face of inflation with regular, fiat currencies. But Dogecoin doesn't have that protection built in. People can keep mining Dogecoin like literally forever and ever and ever. So any value that you're seeing now is simply because people think there's value associated with it, and there's a lot of interest, but it could blow up even more easily than most other cryptos that are out there today. Graham, what's your whole take on the Dogecoin thing?
You kind of hit it on the head here. And so this is, I'm going to diatribe a little bit. Feel free to interrupt me at any time. But, Dogecoin, it very much is in line with the GME thing, right? The power of the people. Yeah, okay, we're bandwagoning on our way up. We're up to the moon. Awesome. Great. Just buckle your safety belt and be ready to eject. Because with a lot of crypto, with a lot of blockchain stuff, where is the inherent value in this? Is the inherent value that you put a bunch of money into it and you got a bunch of money out and that was exciting for you? That's great. And same thing with GME. You weren't really there to save GameStop. You were there because it was you were kind of there to screw the shorts. Which, you know what? With you on that one, guys. Power to you. When I'm looking at Dogecoin, it feels good. It's a meme coin. Like it's cool to be part of this thing, and maybe you did make a chunk of money on it. But I look at this, and I've said before, for me, when it comes to investing in cryptocurrencies, I originally invested in Bitcoin. I did some mining and that sort of stuff because I saw the value in what I thought that crypto could bring to us. The idea of decentralized currencies and basically taking the bank out of the equation for a lot of these things. You put your money in the bank right now, and do you make much out of it? Not really. And they get to take your money and then they lend that to other people for, a decently large return as opposed to the interest they're giving you. That doesn't seem very fair. So the idea here again that you've got control of this and you get to make some money is cool. When I'm looking at crypto projects right now, I said earlier to somebody, I believe in this as the crucible by which diamond hands are formed. And so when you're looking at a project, if you don't understand what it does, which Dogecoin doesn't do much. I mean, they're talking about it as a payment method right now, but it is underdeveloped as a payment method. There hasn't been much development that's gone on with this in a very, very long time. This is basically a dead crypto that somebody picked up, inflated life into, and they're riding it around like a horse, but this thing's been beaten dead a long time ago. So there was probably some movement in this still, but if you're looking at this thinking that this is going to be the next Bitcoin, for some people it has been because they got in back when it was a fraction of a cent, but this is not going there. And you can quote me on that when it does happen, and I will definitely find a hat that I can eat. I will say that there are a couple of things right now that if you wanted to look at something that's doing something like this, I've been in the Terra ecosystem for probably about a month and a half now. And that one there, it's developed by, it's Terra ecosystems. So there are a number of cryptos in there called like Luna and Anchor, where they are essentially creating a separate, distributed, decentralized financial system that has all the pieces that people are looking for. It has like a Robinhood-like stock system for synthetics. It has a savings protocol called Anchor, this sounds crazy, but there is a 20% APR, and there are flywheels built into this thing so that it doesn't do what Dogecoin is probably going to do, which is hit a point and then collapse because again, there's no use for it. If you really want like a fun one right now that you can put a bunch of money into, SafeMoon is a weird one. They basically built a tax into buying it and a tax into selling it. There's 10%. 5% goes back to the holders, and 5% gets burned. So those tokens that are all being mined, they're burning those things pretty much as fast as they can make them, which means that there's an inherent store of value here as well. I threw $1,000 at this a little while back, and it's kind of done a thing. They do have some features to the project as well. They're looking at creating a financial system for microloans in Africa. Okay, cool. Now you have a reason to exist. So if you're looking at DogeCoin and going, man, I really wish I had got on board, there are places where you probably could find things like this, but realize this is inherently risky. So this is not financial advice, to do your own research. Yep.
I'm glad you said, I was just about to read our standard disclaimer. We are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. Thank you for attending our TED Talk.
I did wear my To the Moon shirt today, so there you go.
Can I say the only financial advice, and this I think ties into what Graham's saying, is buy low, sell high. If you're coming in when it's high, not a great idea. Find the low, sell at the high. I know that's simplifying things, but if you're looking at DogeCoin and going, it's going through the moon. Yeah, that's a sign that you don't get in, not that you get in.
Liftoff happened like a couple of days ago. You missed it, right? You mentioned Wall Street Bets. There is actually a subreddit called Satoshi Street Bets, which is focused on crypto. I will say with both of these places, Tristan, you mentioned earlier the pump that's happening by people. If something's being pumped, you probably already missed the entry point. And what's that? The other half of the pump and dump? It's the dump. We saw that last night, where a bunch of people like dumped a bunch of crypto to put it into Doge because they were pumping Doge. This is on a Sunday, right? We're Sunday, April 18th? Dump's coming.
Now, you referred to diamond hands earlier, Graham, and we know there are strong hands who hold on, they hodl, they hold on for dear life. There's weak hands who, at the first sign of adversity, they cash out. And there's the diamond hands popularized by Wall Street Bets and others. Now, this isn't a segue, but Tasia, I know that you have a diamond hand of sorts. Last time I saw a close up in one of your videos. So only to segue to you, what is your take on all this craziness? Because to be fair, it's mostly dudes. It's mostly dudes because dudes are more likely to get engaged in risky behavior, especially dudes under 25, and even some of us dudes way over 25. What's your take on this whole crypto thing, and then even the NFTs and whatnot? Does it interest you at all? I mean, have you dabbled?
So it interests me, but I have not, and I will not dabble. I am very personally risk adverse. So, and exactly what Graham said, which was what I was going to say, was it's not like I'm a noob to cryptocurrencies, but for lack of a better term, for a lay person, I suppose, it's like, by the time you're hearing about it, it's too late. Like, don't get in. If you're hearing about it and you're like me, honey, no, sit down. Like, don't get into it now. It's too late.
Well, and this is honestly, it's why I liked the things that I saw about it's the thing that I liked about the Terra ecosystem, is because it's not meant to be a fast ride up. They're basically putting together a system that has all of the pieces that you would have in a traditional financial system. What they call stable coins, things that are pegged to a certain value that we already know and we're familiar with, right? There's USDT, which is US dollar tether, which is tethered to the US dollar. There's UST, which is part of the Terra ecosystem, which is US tether. And again, the system is designed to keep that thing always leveled at $1 US. So as the value of other things goes up and down, that means you still have this thing that can be used to exchange for goods and services. Whereas this is where Bitcoin kind of fell off the rails for me a little bit, where it's like, cool, I've got this thing and I want to pay for things with it because I believe in cryptocurrency, I believe in decentralized finance, but you won't let me because I spend it today, it'll be worth twice as much tomorrow. And that was my inherent problem with it. So I started looking around at projects where it's like, they have a payment system that I can do this with. Chai is the payment system that's built into Terra, and it's being used in South Korea already. And they're using KRT, which is tied to the Korean dollar, UST, and there's actually a Canadian Terra as well, so that we can use up here. So that to me is the type of thing that I want to get into, where there's a payment system built in. I don't have the fees that are going to the banks. The fees they're going back into the network that, if I'm invested in the network, enriches me. That is how we, to Will's point, take the power back from the people, not by following guys like Mark Cuban and Elon Musk as they pump stuff up because they put a ton of money into it. And if it moves even the tiniest bit, they make a lot of money. Whereas your paycheck that you just got from Chipotle that you put into DogeCoin could be gone tomorrow. And that's sad for all of us.
So,
Queen of Diamonds for you.
Perfect. If you look closely at his deck, they're all Queen of Diamonds. That's how they pull off tricks like that.
That's called a gaff.
One of the reasons why the crypto markets went a little nutty this week and quite volatile was due to the direct listing onto the Nasdaq Stock Exchange of Coinbase, which is one of the longest running crypto exchanges. And a lot of the cypherpunk, OG Bitcoiners are not fans of Coinbase because they are centralized. They do try to play nice with the banks and whatnot, but they have provided, an on-ramp to a lot of regular people, getting into crypto. And there's been a lot of excitement around that. A lot of money went into their listing on the stock market. So that's one way that people can get exposure. Some are speculating that maybe fewer people will put their money into Bitcoin now that there's a traditional stock that will be pretty closely tied to the value of Bitcoin and the crypto markets in general. Of course, you can trade lots and lots of different cryptos using Coinbase, and including the use of stable coins. And so stable coins are also handy for people who like to trade, because if you decide maybe last week Bitcoin went to $64,000 US, maybe they want to take some profit, cash it out into US DT, like Tether, or USDC, which is another stable coin, and have that in US dollars for a little bit until they decide where they want to put that, perhaps into another crypto like Ether, or even Doge or Luna, or what have you. One reason that stablecoins are handy in that respect is that it can get really confusing looking at all the different exchange rates between the cryptos, because there are literally thousands of cryptocurrencies out there, different tokens out there. So when you're looking at, this value is worth this in BTC or Bitcoin today, and this is worth this, it's like, okay, maybe I'll just put it into a stable coin, which is roughly what a US dollar is, and then I've got a standard by which to judge the value of all these other things. But as with any of these things, if people are interested in experimenting, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, right? Graham put in $1,000 because he found it between his couch cushions, as he often does.
Yep.
And so if that's an amount for you, cool. If it's $100, if it's $10, I think it's good to understand some of these things, and there's find a friend who can help walk you through some of these steps. The other thing too is when you're playing with crypto, the responsibility, the onus is on you to get things 100% exactly right when you're transferring funds around, because if you make a mistake, those things can be gone forever. You use the wrong key, these long strings of alphanumeric characters, you can lose everything forever. So a lot of caution is required. Now, just one last little anecdote on Doge. I did a keynote and a workshop about 2.5 years ago, and I bought about $100 worth of Doge, again, at a fraction of a penny. And in the workshop, there's about 30 people in the class, and I gave everyone 500 Doge. At the time, that was about $2 per person. So it was about $60 that I gave away, and kept about $40 for myself. As of the other day, when it was Doge was at about 35 cents, maybe a little higher, each of those $2 I gave everyone was worth about $180. So I need to hunt those people down and get them to thank me. So you're welcome. They probably got new phones and don't even have the wallet installed.
Your Doge, though?
No, it's their own Doge now. I transferred it to them.
Your part.
You got 40.
I've got a little bit. I can't say, I may or may not have.
Sitting on a bit of a Doge pile.
Yeah, just a little Doge pile. But it was fun. It's just enough to be like, oh, that's exciting. I mean, I'm not retiring on that, but I mean, I'm just like, damn, why didn't I get more?
Yep.
Back in the day, and that's the thing about Doge is that there are actually communities all over the place where they have little meetups, and it's a great way to learn about crypto in kind of a low risk, environment. There's lots of support. There's lots of tools. It's supported by all sorts of exchanges and wallets, and it's fun. It's largely an educational tool, but now it's this crazy speculation instrument.
Well, and that's it. I think you hit it on the head there. It was low risk. right?
Yeah.
And now it's like it's not as much. Again, you're seeing these up and comers that are kind of on the way. There are tons of these tokens, right? A lot of people are getting on through Binance, and then they're getting BNB, and then they're trading them on PancakeSwap, which sounds like a really long pipeline of confusion, and it is. But you're seeing the same sort of thing happen with SafeMoon, where people, if you go check out that hashtag, because the rapidity, so basically it went Doge to Hoge, which was that was the next Doge, and now SafeMoon is. You've got these three groups now they're kind of fighting each other, and I really hope that it comes to personal combat at some point in some sort of arena. Would be awesome, right?
And
And
of course, Gray is really no better than Elon Musk or Mark Cuban, because now he's pumping Luna, pumping Terra, pumping his own of these stuff. So again,
wait till you see my basketball team that's carried around by my electric vehicles. I am all over this. I got this.
So Graham, you also found a way to display your NFT collection. Can you tell us about that?
Well, this is kind of neat. So, we were talking NFTs and the use thereof over the last little while. And so I have started working with a couple of people who are looking at starting their own podcast. You might remember Ryan Phillips played in the NHL. There's a fellow named Brett, I can't remember his last name. And then Elvis Stoico, Canadian gold medal Olympian. And so they're starting a podcast. And they were talking about, just incentivizing people to listen for the first time. And I mentioned to them, well, I collected hockey cards as a kid. Why don't we see if we can issue like a limited run NFT for your first season viewers, where they can collect NFTs if they listen to the episode? And so we're kind of working on that right now. But I kind of looked at it and went, okay, so we got this thing. And I've been a little hypocritical about this, going, okay, let's do this. But so what the hell do you do with this? And finding cool new ways to display NFTs, I think, is sort of, it's the thing. And so we're starting to see like a ton of these digital frames pop up, which brings me back to my days on the retail floor at Future Shop 2 decades ago with Kodak throwing out digital frames. And gosh, they look so much nicer now. Like, this is the thing that kind of gets me. I've always wanted to have just a really nice, and what I'm looking for at this point is an OLED digital frame, something with those beautiful black levels that maybe is quite luminous at night, maybe it's not. But this was sort of it really caught my attention of, okay, we're getting to a point now where digital art is more of a thing. Samsung's had their iArt television for a while, and I contemplated putting that in. I've got a somewhat broken TCL that I bought back in January. Oh, this is the best thing. Sorry to segue. Best Buy sends me a call on, it was Tuesday night this week. They're like, there's a delivery coming tomorrow. And so the guy calls me the next morning and I'm like, you guys have to come and take the TV down because it's still up. And he's like, oh, I'm just taking the TV. I'm not delivering the new TV. I'm like, you're not leaving me without a TV. There's a whole thing here. We're gonna have a chat with Best Buy, possibly on the air. But in any case, this is kind of what I look for. This frame is going to be the gateway drug to NFT art, the mural display. I thought that was neat.
Well, it's a darn more satisfying than basically just having a long blockchain address, a series of letters and numbers go, oh, there's my NFT. It's somewhere.
Have you seen my NFT?
It's on a blockchain somewhere. You can print the number on your T-shirt or something. It's like, so this is definitely a lot more satisfying. We are visual creatures after all. And if we are purchasing, these non-fungible tokens that represent actual digital art, why not have a way to actually enjoy them in our own homes?
Was the number on the T-shirt, was that a deep cut back to the DVD CSS code?
A little bit. Well done.
There's another one too. Sorry, just to jump in on this. I love this idea.
Never apologize, Will.
And it's the Canadian in me, I guess, or maybe just my background. But I, not as part of the show notes or anything. I sent you guys a message. There's a website that I like to look at that has sort of collectible statues and stuff, and partly nerd culture and partly just sort of art. And one of the things, they were coming out with a statue, and you had the option of actually buying an NFT as part of it. So you didn't have to have that when you bought the statue, but if you wanted the option to give that sort of whatever you call it, chain of, you bought this, it's a limited edition, you bought this number, and so if you were to resell it, you could sell the NFT as part of the physical statue. I thought that was kind of an interesting application of NFTs.
And one thing that I was just wondering, talking about little statues and NFTs, is I know that you've got some of these, and I was like, is Funko Pop in on this NFT action? I mean, they could do limited run NFTs they have hundreds and hundreds of different characters, a lot of which from pop culture and from sci-fi and fantasy and comics and whatnot. And I just did it live and found an article. The thing is, the article was posted on April 1st, so now I don't know what to think. They said Funko plans to offer an NFT each week starting at $10. So, Will, that's going to be your assignment for next episode.
Yeah.
What Funko Pop's doing with NFTs, because I mean that is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned.
I'd love that because I don't have the space for actual collectibles anymore. So, a frame that is just literally I can pop through, a couple of frames where you can have like themed NFTs for when people come over, and it's like, boom, tonight we're doing Deadpool night. Boom, all my Deadpool stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
On your digital frames. Now, the whole idea with the digital frames for the NFTs has to do with integrating technology into our homes in ways that we can enjoy, in ways that aren't necessarily overly techy or overly showy. So there's been a trend over the years from some companies, especially high-end brands, to have high-end tech in our homes, but in a really low-key kind of way. And the latest offering from Bang & Olufsen is really tying into this trend. And of course, B&O, with their usual price point, they've got this lovely new line of bookshelf speakers, and they look like they look like books. They looks like the spine of a book. It's a long, narrow bookshelf speaker that you just throw on there, and it's got mesh and fine materials, wood, and I'm not sure if there's leather on there or not. They have a textured black plastic body with a black aluminum grill, so that's more kind of home theater-esque. And the other one is it's wood and tweed. For the low price, Deja, are you ready for it? What would you pay for a bookshelf speakers that just look like books?
Oh God, I'm not ready for it. What is it?
Would you say like $100, $200?
I mean, let's say $199, but I know that is incorrect.
Let's say for $199 you could buy maybe a quarter of one. $715 US.
Stop right now.
That's the bang.
The BO sound emerge. It looks beautiful.
No, sir.
And that's for one, I believe.
I'm trying to look at it. Okay, so this is really crazy because there's a company here. I can't remember their name. I don't know if they're still around because it was probably maybe 2 years ago now. Because how long have we been all trapped in our homes? A year? I don't know.
Okay.
But there's a company in Old Town Scottsdale that was selling artwork. So in different sizes, that it's a speaker system. So you could make like surround sound in your house with all your artwork essentially. And they just get licensing to say like Getty Images or whatever, or you can send them your own images. And then they had the essentially speaker system that was built into the back of these pieces of art. We almost got one. Like we were super close to getting one. But this totally reminds me of that. And these weren't that expensive. Like they weren't like that. Because y'all know I'm cheap. I ain't paying that.
Well, if we did want to go like full expense here, Sonos sells invisible speakers. I kid you not. So these basically you cut into the wall, you drop it down into the wall, they mud over it. And I've listened to these things and they sound phenomenal.
How?
And so basically the entire driver is set in between the studs in the wall, and it's got this beautiful coating over it. And it's just, again, you get incredible sound from a speaker that you literally cannot see. That's what it looks like there. There's the Invisible Series installation. So
I have a lot of questions.
This is not a $700 speaker. Let me tell you that. This is quite a bit more than that. I couldn't tell you the price offhand because last time I priced these things out was probably 2016. But they're absolutely remarkable.
I don't even understand because wouldn't it be muted and like muffled, like I'm talking behind a wall? Then also, what if y'all live in an apartment? Are the neighbors hearing it too?
So chances are, I mean, if you're living in an apartment and you're putting these things in, you probably got concrete walls. So, but they are designed to push sound out away from it. And they've actually got a little bit of insulation around. So again, it's pushing the sound where it's supposed to go. But this is actually, it isn't an unusual concept, right? You've also got like these guys here, Triad. They do in-ceiling stuff that's invisible. But, this is sort of the thing is like, do you go with something that is beautiful or do you go with something that is going to be on your bookshelf. And I think that's sort of,
I have the answer. I know exactly what you go with. You go with the thing that you can fix if it breaks. You got something built behind your damn wall. How you gonna get to that?
Well, when was the last time you had a speaker break?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Cranks her music loud.
Well, and that's the thing. Like Future Shop many years ago used to sell a 9-year warranty on their speakers because like 2 people in a year would have a speaker break because they were feeding too much power through it. They made a ton of money on those extended warranties. But I love the look of this. Like this is something that, and the problem is it doesn't match my decor.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Graham. You have to be able to have. Oh no, those are my book speakers. Like, no, that's my random book I have sitting on the one part of this shelf. Like,
well,
Don't
on
put
that
it in
note,
the don't put it in the box to the Sally Ann.
So I have a speaker story, believe it or not, and it's from the 80s. Again, double believe it or not. I dodged a bullet one time when my parents were at work and I was home early from school, and they're not watching, so I can share this story. So sometimes I would sneak to my stepdad at the time stereo and put on a record, after my secret trip downtown, taking the long way home and picking up the latest, from Cabaret Voltaire or what have you. And I would put a record on. And then one time I put it on a little loud, and I went to the other room. It's good. It sounded really good. He had a good stereo, as stepdads often do. And then I heard this crash, like, what? Come running back. And one of these giant speakers, about you can't even, I'm off the screen here. It was real big. They had the old style, 70s style speakers, which had been mounted in a corner above our stairwell to the basement. I guess it had vibrated off of its little stand and crashed down the stairs. But believe it or not, they don't build things like they used to. It was absolutely unscathed. So
how were the stairs?
Yeah, it was carpeted stairs. We had carpeting everywhere, even the bathroom. Ugh. But it had a soft landing. It slid down those stairs. I'm like panicking. Oh no, now it's finally happened. I am busted. And I was able to cradle that thing in my arms, bring it back up the stairs, carrying like a brave firefighter, and put it back in its rightful place. Hook the speaker cables back up. Carefully got resumed playing the music, and it sounded just perfect. Like, thank heavens. But
yeah.
So speakers can break, but if you try real hard, you can almost break them, and if you get lucky, maybe you won't break them. Luckily, like there was nothing sharp on the ground. I didn't bust a cone or anything. So I just had to share that because I was having flashbacks.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want a $715, speaker from B&O that looks like the Flatiron Tower and a PS5 had a baby, perhaps a more affordable offering from Sonos, which is, actually, before we get to Sonos, Bang & Olufsen is actually working with IKEA. So Sonos is working with IKEA. That's right. Yeah, so this is all in our whole theme of making our technology disappear. And this is still reports at the moment that they are working on building speakers into to frames and other things in your home so that they're hidden away. And of course, I don't have the story in front of me because I screwed up my tabs. But that's okay. We don't talk about the show on the show. So hidden speakers into the art. Graham, take it away.
Well, I was just going to say, Tasia, this is the art that you're looking for, right? All of those IKEA prints that we've, I had probably like 10 of them through university. You remember there was the one from London that had it was black and white, but it had the red bus.
Yes.
Or there's this San Francisco one going up the hill. We all own that at some point. I would love to have that back again as a speaker.
And there's the one of, what's her name, with the cigarette. And she's like turned this way, the actress.
Is it Marilyn Monroe?
No.
I think it's Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yes.
Yeah, Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn, yeah.
Yes.
There is a Marilyn Monroe as well, so maybe they could issue those as NFTs. Anyway, everything is full circle. But yeah, like I was just gonna say, building this into art is great, and obviously, so there's a couple of things. It's gonna need power, and it's gonna need the wireless module. But they've signed on for the wireless module, so they've put that to the FCC. This is, when I first heard that IKEA was going to be doing Symphonisk stuff, so they have the bookshelf models that fit directly into their Kallax bookshelves, which is perfect if you want to just have a bookshelf speaker. They can also be the rear speakers in your Sonos-based home theater. So if you've got a Beam or an Arc or a Playbase, they can be the 2 rear speakers. They're awesome. The lamps, you can see the lamp here.
Looks like a HomePod with a mushroom cap. What happened?
Yeah. There's a couple of things that look like, and it's like none of them are things that I want on display.
Yeah.
That's in the bedroom,
Graham. But yeah, the bookshelves looked good. The lamp, some people like it. I don't, but apparently they're revamping that. But the art thing is neat because it's just, again, it disappears. You've got beautiful sound all over the house. And the big play here with Sonos, obviously, is just the more points of audio that you have for speakers, the lower the total volume you can have while still having the music be pervasive. And it's the worst thing on the planet when you're trying to talk to somebody anywhere in the house and you're yelling at each other because you're right beside the loudspeaker that you have to have at that volume to hear it everywhere else. So for me, like, the more people we can get on board with distributed audio, the happier that I'm going to be as a human being. And this is great.
I love this idea. It also, for me, ties a little bit into something else that IKEA was doing with a company called Teenage Engineering. And clearly they're setting up some of these partnerships and in terms of music creation, but that was also, so in case you don't know, they were creating little speakers and little light boxes that tied in with the music. And Teenage Engineering is a company that makes sort of little fun devices. I have a few of them as well called Pocket Operators. They have something called the OP1 as well. And they just sort of little beat making things. And this was to tie in with another music company. So I guess this is very much in the same vein as that, about IKEA going out and trying to create some of these fun projects with music, with putting music in creative ways in your home. So I love this idea, and I love what IKEA is doing with some of these partnerships.
And this is all part of the that larger initiative to make tech not look like tech in the home. And it helps maybe with some purchases passing the spouse test. Often in couples there'll be one person who's like real techie and they want all the latest and greatest, and then there's often the other the partner who's like maybe they're a little bit more reasonable and they don't want their house cluttered with all sorts of gadgets that are listening to them or like making noises or emitting light. How many LEDs when you go to sleep at night and you turn off your lights? How many LEDs do you see around you, like eyes peering at you in the dark? We're surrounded.
I'm in that commentary and I don't like it.
The only thing that's a benefit is I have a gray cat that you might have seen earlier, and so that I can see his movement sometimes because he'll catch like a bit of a red light or a blue light as he's walking by. I'm like, oh, he's in the room.
Yeah. Tasia, do you like your tech to look like tech, or do you like it to blend in?
Maybe both. I really don't mind, I don't go crazy in the house with tech. I don't think I do.
Mostly
maybe
in your
I,
office.
Maybe I do. I'm like, do I need this? But it's like, also, I'm not buying that ugly lamp, if that's what you're asking. I mean, that is not.
Thank you.
That's not blending in. People would be like, now that was a choice.
Look at the plant beside it. Even the plant's not happy. It's like I would be thriving if I weren't next to this eyesore.
I just have a question. Like, if I had that in my house next to mine or my wife's bedside table, when my mom came in and went, "What is that?"
Right.
You should have seen that. Before you come in.
So, also in the audio department, and also with Sonos, this actually we missed talking about this last week, but Sonos has finally entered the realm of portable Bluetooth speakers in a way. They were kind of doing the Apple, kind of waiting for everyone else to come up with lots of crappy products and kind of sitting on the sidelines and just coming up with something that sounds like it is truly great. And it is only, I believe, $189 US. I mean, that's still money, but compared to some of the other offerings on the offer out in the market there. Graham, you're a Sonos fan. What do you think about this?
I've got it on pre-order. I'm excited. There's a couple of reasons why I love this thing. I've got the Move literally sitting right here, and so for upstairs, because we've got a 500 square foot patio up there, it's perfect. I used to have an Ion outdoor rocker thing, but the Bluetooth experience with it wasn't great. It's clunky, it's big, it looked like an amp. Whereas the Move's great. It's got a built-in handle, it's got great battery life, awesome. But
let's show the kids at home, shall we?
Oh, you want to see?
No,
oh my lord!
No. Well, yeah, that and then we can. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah, we're looking at the room. Sorry, I've got it up on the machine here. Yeah. Okay, two things. One, boom. Boom. So there's the roam, and this is the Move, and you can see basically they kind of put the Move on a diet. It's probably about that big. Yeah. So I've got mine on pre-order, and I'm super stoked about it. And it's gonna be my gift of choice to people that have terrible Bluetooth speakers right now. Like the people in my life that I love, that I'm like, I hate being around you because your speaker is terrible, and I have those people. This is gonna be this is my way out of that.
Yeah. And it looks great in landscape or portrait mode. Look at that. It helps that their logo is symmetrical too, so it really it can go anyway.
Can I tell you the hidden killer app for me? Right now, if I want someone to join my Sonos system, they have to download the app, or I have to let them onto the network, and then they have to stream the stuff from their phone to my device. It is a pain in the neck. With the Move, if we're just using the Move, you can pair up with the Move with Bluetooth, and they can play their stuff that way, but it doesn't push to the rest of my Sonos system. The Roam lets you take a Bluetooth audio source and push it across your Sonos system. This is the $190 gateway to me not having to deal with that nonsense anymore, and it is the best money I'm going to spend on my network. I can't wait till it gets here. You might say I like it a little bit.
So moving from things that look like they're refugees from 2001: A Space Odyssey, I think we may have an item that Will might be interested in purchasing. Hasbro has released something called the RoboSen auto transforming something or other. But it's basically a transformer that actually transforms.
Look, I was saying this last week about things like that awesome vacuum that had a laser attached. That was a great idea, but we wanted it to do something else. That we really want the laser to destroy the dirt. When we bought Transformers as children, or our parents bought them for us, this is what we wanted to happen. We didn't want to have to go, oh, how does the leg go this way or that way? No, press button, bam, does the thing, right? This is fulfilling the promise that was made to us as children. Now, it is $700 US.
A deal, a bargain.
Oh my God.
What to do and how do I explain this to my wife?
You tell her it's got a Sonos speaker built into it. This would tow around your Bang & Olufsen speaker, no problem. Look at that. It just fits right in the flatbed.
It's 19 inches
so
tall.
Expensive?
It's got 5,000 parts and 27 high-powered servo motors, Tasia.
It comes with the battle axe.
Listen, I was all in. I was all in until that price. Are we gonna pay rent this month, honey, or are we gonna buy this?
They're waiting for their stimmy checks. No, it is really genuinely cool. A dream come true for a generation of Transformers kids, that's for sure. But maybe if they make an NFT of it, everyone can enjoy it in a picture frame on their wall.
I will also not so quietly judge any parent who buys this for their 7-year-old child.
Oh yeah.
You don't understand. You don't deserve it.
But I think this falls into the category of things that even if we don't own them ourselves, we're just glad exist.
Yes.
Now, if we could just get on those flying cars. We only got to have a couple minutes left. We should be wrapping up soon. I just wanted to share with y'all something. If you're not watching this yet, I highly encourage you to watch a show that's on Apple TV Plus, and you can get the 1-week free trial. Or if you bought an Apple device since the fall, you get a year for free. There's a show called Mythic Quest. The first season was called Mythic Quest: Raven's Banquet. It's co-created by Rob McElhaney and Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's centered on the trials and tribulations of a video game development studio. And anyone who's ever worked in an office, especially one that is vaguely connected to tech, will recognize a lot of the personalities in this show. And it's it's been overshadowed by Ted Lasso to a certain extent. It came out before Ted Lasso last year, but they've done a tremendous job, I think. And there's genuine humor in there. They don't go for gags so much, but just the humor comes from the characters. And there's some real heartfelt episodes as well. They take chances. They had a quarantine episode last year where everyone was like on a giant Zoom call and you thought this sounds like the worst idea ever for a TV show, and they pulled it off magnificently. Now they actually have an episode before season 2 launches, coming soon. It launches soon. They have a special episode that they shot that is sort of between seasons, and they shot it during the pandemic that we're still in with all their protocols in place. Unfortunately, they did still have a couple of cases they discovered afterwards from people on set. So they did take a minute, did take a pause after that. But have any of you enjoyed or watched it, given a chance to Mythic Quest yet?
I'm about to.
All right, binge it before season 2 starts. I highly encourage it. I mean, all of us being relatively exposed to tech on an ongoing basis, I think definitely
I've had it on
appreciate
my
it.
list, Tristan, because I know you've recommended it, and I do want to watch it. I have to say, I'm a bit worried because I still have scars from working at tech companies. I loved my time. I met you all there and some great times. I don't know if I am ready for satire. Maybe it's too soon. I don't know. I think it would cut too deep. So I want to. I'm a little scared.
It's okay. We're here for you.
Yeah, it's like a little bit like if you crossed Silicon Valley with the TV series from HBO, with like Fortnite, the game, basically. There's a whole bunch in season 1 actually exists in game as well. There's a whole lot that takes place in the game, which is kind of fun as well. So highly encourage you to check out Mythic Quest season 2. Starting very soon, May 7th, I believe.
Nice. Okay, I'm in.
Nice. And Tasia, I need your commitment. I'm on commission here.
So is this like confession corner with Tasia Custody?
Yes.
I don't have Apple TV Plus, and I'm not going to get it. So
You buy.
I'll leave now. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.
I mean, if you buy an iPhone, iPad, Mac, or an Apple TV, you get a free year. And goodness knows, or an Apple Watch even. You have an Apple Watch Series 6.
I'm pretty sure you've got you got a free year.
Oh,
no. I get a free anything.
Apple Fitness Plus came with it. Maybe Apple TV Plus didn't come with it.
We'll search out.
For like a month. No, thank you.
Okay.
We'll search out. Or I'll add you to my Apple family just so you can get it as fine. Let's take it offline.
I already have like 7 streaming services, okay?
Your phone. You bought an iPhone. When did you buy that?
This was an 11 Pro.
But when did you buy it? A couple of years ago? Okay. Well,
when it came out.
Throw in the ocean and get a new one. The Apple iPhone, was it 13, 14? What's next? But Tasia, while we're talking to you, Tasia, why don't you just fill us in on your latest video?
Oh, sure, I will. I also am going to say, hi, Alan from the Philippines. Thanks for watching us all the way from the Philippines. So my latest YouTube video is going to be, it's the first one in a series, probably of at least 3, maybe 4 that I'm doing. And I'm kind of hesitant to talk to you guys about it because it is about travel tips. And,
trigger warning, everyone.
Trigger warning for those of you still stuck in a place with no vaccines and no travel and everything. But it's all going to be Google travel tips. So this first one, I'm focusing on Google Maps tips for travel and some cool little hacks people might not know what they can do when you're in the pre-planning stage of the trip, and then also while you're on the trip. And then this series, which I'll release one this coming week and then the following week, are going to be on other very cool Google things like Google Travel in general. And I'm not going to get into it, but guys, it's pretty slick. So that's all I can say because I can't give it away. You have to watch.
That's why I paused it. I'm like, you know what? We're not going too far here. So.
I think it's fun to let them play and have Tasia try and sync up what she's saying with her mouth on the YouTube video. That's always a little fun.
That's next time.
Justin, don't. I have enough issues with syncing audio to video.
But Tasia, we've got a commenter on your video. They're an anonymous coward. It says, in today world, don't everyone know these tips already? This is actually, it sounds a little salty, but it's an honest question. Like, why are you bothering putting all these tips together? Doesn't everyone know all this already?
Why am I bothering? Why am I even here, guys? I'm just gonna leave.
No, but I think this is a classic example of someone, maybe perhaps, quite honestly, because someone who is a techie, and a lot of us, it's easy for us to forget how non-tech a lot of people are. Most people, have their jobs, they do their work, they spend time with their kids and their family and whatnot, and they don't bury their face in their smartphone or their laptop all the day, or maybe only for work, and then they step away. Maybe they have cards that they shuffle in the real world and they picked up on sensitive microphones. But how much of this do you encounter with in feedback from people? Because like, I do this. Most people don't know all these things unless they are immersed in tech all the time. Is this a function of certain demographics, on YouTube? Do you think? What's going on?
Yeah, so I get occasional comments like that, and when I saw that one that came out for this video, I laughed and obviously didn't reply because it's like, yeah, you were searching for it and watched it. Like, I didn't force it on your screen, so easy bud. But also, it is to the point of like, it's exactly that. I'm making content that is hopefully going to be helpful to people. So just because I know something or you know something doesn't mean everybody else knows these things, no matter how quote unquote basic we think they might be. So there's always something to help people. There's always, on the flip side of that, a lot of people that will say to me, like, I've been using X, whatever it is, for so many years, and I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
Or like one component of it. And there's always something, and as we know in tech, things are changing constantly. So whether it's a device or software, it's like there's always updates and there's always things like people might not know you can do. So
sorry, there's another thing too, and this is a hot button thing for me, is that there's a big difference, and I agree, like not everyone knows, and I think that's one part. The other part for me is there's a difference between information and wisdom. And you can Google something and find information, but it doesn't mean you can parse through it and understand it and be able to use it properly. Yeah. And having someone walk through it with you is really important. And one example of this is I was actually in the hospital a couple of years ago, and I won't get into it, but I had a brain injury. I'm fine now, or mostly fine. And the doctor
on the next episode.
Bury the lead there a little bit.
The doctor was basically giving me an explanation of what my condition was and giving me the name. My wife was right next to me, of course. She's awesome. She was looking up on her phone, and the doctor said, "Don't Google it. Let me explain it to you first, because don't go and this person wasn't being mean. She was just like, can I just give you the information first and then tell you some things to read if you want more information? Don't go and get the information without someone trying to explain it to you and give you some context to what you're looking at." So sorry, that was a bit of a diatribe. I'll get off my soapbox right now. But that's part of my problem when people say, well, just Google it. Well, you might not be able to process that information. Maybe you can if you're just looking for a speaker or a transformer or something, but you may not be able to process bigger concepts. So
and this speaks to what people go to search engines for. It's often to get questions answered or problems solved. So if anyone out there is looking to build an audience for your blog or your own YouTube channel or what have you, is think about what kind of things are people in your potential audience searching for on a regular basis. And if you can create content that helps solve that problem or answer that question, you're halfway there. So more power to you, Tasia. Keep answering those obvious questions.
Yes.
Thank you. I will.
And we look forward to part 2 in your Google travel tips. So that has been a wonderful episode. Thank you all for joining us on Momentous Live, episode 6 for Sunday, April 18th. Thank you, Gray Williams, Tasia Custodi, William Silver, and I'm Tristan Jutra. You can find us at momentous.tv, twitter.com/momentous.tv, instagram.com/momentous.tv, and all the other socials. Just search Momentous TV.